Hello everyone, welcome to the channel, Melody Llama, and today we're going to be having a different kind of video. We're going to be looking over Dragon Ball's Son Goku, and Son Goku, obviously, he's the protagonist of the franchise, and here we're going to be looking at whether or not this guy is a fraud or not. Now, what does that mean? Is he a worthy fighter? Is he really about that action? Because, you know, Goku, he's a master martial artist, but, you know, is he really on that level? We're going to look here. Now, to make it clear, to be a fraud, it's not about your win-loss record. Because, you know, you can get your ass beat by tons of guys. But if those guys are, like, insanely powerful within the lore, or, like, you know, there's some justification of why you're taking L's, that's different. And the same goes the other way around. If you're collecting W after W, but you're fighting nobodies, we're talking 0-1 record guys, 0-5 record guys, I can't really give you too much. So we're going to be looking at whether or not Goku from Dragon Ball Z is a fraud. I will be doing a Dragon Ball Super video coming up of Goku, but for this one, we're just going to be looking at Goku's run in Dragon Ball Z and whether he was that guy or not. So unfortunately, that means we're going to exclude the Budokai tournament where he fought Piccolo. You know, he collected some dubs there, but we're going to have to leave that in the past. Maybe I can go back and do a Dragon Ball version. Spoiler, Goku would be a monster there. But we're going to start here with Z, and we're going to start with the Saiyan saga. And obviously that means that we're going to start with his battle against Raditz. Now, the battle against Raditz on paper isn't too good. You know, he shows up on the planet, he shows up to Kame House, and pretty much, you know, he quite literally little brothers Goku and beats his ass and takes his kid. Not a great look, but you know, we don't even care about that one, alright? We care about when he spun the block with Piccolo. How did he perform? And you know, the answer is not too bad. Raditz at this point was quite a monster. You know, he was going from planet to planet, defeating people, and within the context of the lore, if you're somebody who's, you know, fighting all the time, you're gonna get a lot stronger. Now, I don't necessarily know why Raditz was so weak, you know. Later when we see Nappa and Vegeta, they're just so much more stronger than Raditz that Raditz is almost comical. I know he's a low-class warrior, but you know, so is Goku, and, you know, in the span of a couple of battles, he's able to reach Vegeta's level. I know he trained with King Kai, but it just seemed like Raditz, for someone that was traveling the galaxy with Nappa and Vegeta, he shouldn't be this far behind. The power level of 1000 is pretty pitiful. So, I'll be honest, this ain't too good of a look for Goku, especially since he's tag teaming this guy with Piccolo, and then gets saved by his own son, who actually does better than both of them with the headbutt. Now, they don't really lose this fight. I will say, if you're in a 2-on-1 scenario and you still get the win, I'm still counting it as a win, you know? A win is a win. And they do kind of get the win when Goku has his tail, and he kind of lets his own guard down, you know, he grants him mercy, and it costs him, but that's not really because Goku's not about it. He was just too kind, you know? It still meant that Goku Piccolo got that win. But unfortunately, it cost him his life because he ends up getting special beam cannon. And yeah, not the best look, I'll be honest. We're starting off a little low with Goku, but we're only up from here. Because after some training with King Kai, he returns and he picks a fight with Nappa. Now, Nappa's a monster, okay? We need to first establish who this guy was, okay? Nappa was putting belt to ass on everybody on planet Earth. I'm talking he killed three motherfuckers actually. Chaozu, Tien, and Piccolo. Yamcha also died, but he died to a Cyberman, so not really Nappa's kill, but you might as well count it. He laid waste to everyone there. So when Goku shows up, you know, it's go time. And Goku proceeds to absolutely dog walk this man. I'm talking him, treating him like a chihuahua. It was not good at all. Goku stands on his head, stunts on him, the whole 9 yards. This is probably one of Goku's best performances because not only is the win so dominant, it's over someone that was established to be a monster at the time, and that's kind of what we're looking at. If you just like wash somebody that's like whack, then it doesn't really matter. But considering the fact that they put so much time into building up Nappa, and Goku is able to just destroy this guy, that's a big one for Goku. So great win for him. So then comes Vegeta, the prince of all Saiyans. This guy is the most elite of the Saiyan race. He was even stronger than his father. So yeah, this is the top tier of the Saiyan race, and Goku's about to fight this man. We immediately establish Vegeta when he tosses Nappa into the air and one-shots him with, I believe it's called Galaxy Breaker. Fucking awesome name. So Goku squares off with him. We get this iconic shot of the standoff between Goku and Vegeta, the low-class warrior versus the elite. Yeah, man, this fight is just not only incredible, but again, it's such a highlight for Goku in his run. I'll just be honest, he doesn't win this fight. In fact, you know, if you think Goku won this fight, I don't know what to tell you. He got destroyed. I'm talking when Vegeta uses Great Ape, it's pretty much a wash from there. Now, one could argue that, you know, it's like, well, it's kind of unfair because Goku's tail was lost, so if he had a tail, then, you know, it would have been a lot more even, and I actually agree with you. But in the context of this fight, Goku does take the L here. It's just a matter of fact. He needs help from Yajirobe to cut his tail off. He needs help from Krillin, Gohan, the Spirit Bomb, all of the 9 yards to take this guy out. But because Vegeta was so impressive himself, I don't even take anything away from Goku's loss here. Now, just because someone is really good and you lose to them, it doesn't mean that the loss is good or bad. It's kind of the context that goes around it. Like, if I feel like you should have beat that person and you didn't, then I'm gonna look at it a little bit like, nah, kind of sucked. But Goku should have never even been fighting this guy in the first place, okay? Goku started this arc at needing to jump Raditz, who is just dog water. And then by the end of the arc, he's throwing hands with the elite of the elite, the strongest Saiyan. So for that, Goku gets a thumbs up. And honestly, mostly a thumbs up for the Saiyan arc. He really picks it up after that first jump attempt to Raditz. He was probably like, man, fuck this. I'm embarrassed. I need to go back and grind. And he did just that. So Saiyan Saga, I'm giving thumbs up. Damn near like a B+, maybe A- performance here. We then move on to the Namek Saga. Now, the Namek Saga, Goku doesn't actually do a whole lot. Basically, he kind of AWOL until the Ginyu Force arrive. I guess for the context of the Ginyu Force, Vegeta had fought guys like Zarbon and the Doria, who were soldiers of Frieza. They were difficult, you know, not the Doria really, but Zarbon was pretty difficult. Vegeta had to lose and then come back after a Zenkai boost, which is basically, for those of you who don't know, I imagine most of you know, it's just when a Saiyan gets their ass beat and near death, they get stronger. So he gets a Zenkai boost, he beats Zarbon. And then we find out that these guys are like maybe half the power level of the Ginyu Force members, aside from Guldo, which is, again, Recoome, Jace, and Birder. Recoome pretty much fulfills the Nappa role in this arc of beating everyone's ass, including Krillin, Gohan, and Vegeta. Again, obviously the same Vegeta that Goku had just fought in the Saiyan Saga, a stronger version of that. And here's Recoome throwing him around. And then Goku shows up and one-shots him. Now, this isn't even the one that impresses me because, you know, you can be like, oh, Recoome is just like beat up, whatever, who cares? It's his performance with Birder and Jace. You know, basically there's now 2 Raccoons, they have elite teamwork, and they can't even land a hit on him. I believe Birder, the meme, is like he's the fastest man alive but doesn't land a single hit in the entire manga. So you tell me how exactly this could be anything but impressive on Goku's part. I mean, this is his next battle, okay? He came from getting demolished by Vegeta to now beating up 2 to 3 guys that one of them beat up Vegeta. So definitely a highlight for him. He looked like a monster here. Big W. Then he moves on to Captain Ginyu, and this one's a little bit disappointing. I know Ginyu kind of has the ability to switch bodies, and Goku didn't know that, but, you know, I think Ginyu's just whack. I know he's the leader of the Ginyu Force, but I never really found him all that impressive, although he is, technically. He's a lot stronger than the other Ginyu Force members, but I don't know, I thought the loss here was kind of lame. I kind of found it kind of lame that Goku got caught by the attack. You know, he's a master martial artist and all that. You should be ready for stuff like this. I mean, shit, Tien had some really weird abilities. So yeah, this one's not too impressive. He needs help from Krillin, Gohan, Vegeta at this point. He does kind of clutch it when Ginyu tries to switch bodies again and Goku throws a frog in the way and pretty much leaves Ginyu to be a frog for the rest of his life. So he kind of does clutch it at the end, but, you know, not bad, not good, just alright. Where things really start to heat up is the Frieza battle. this one's another case of Vegeta, but like 10 times crazier. Because whereas Vegeta was the strongest of the Saiyan race, that doesn't mean shit in terms of like the Frieza Empire. Like the Saiyans suck bad. Really, I mean, people love Saiyans, but Saiyans are like the weakest, one of the weakest races in Dragon Ball. They are buns. So Frieza's this guy who conquered all of them. And Vegeta, of course, has been getting stronger through the arc, and Vegeta's kind of a punching bag for this arc towards the latter portion. Frieza, he's the big galactic emperor. He's the top guy in the entire galaxy. You know, forget like on the planet, in the solar system, arguably in the universe. In Universe 7, Frieza is the strongest guy around. I know maybe you can make some cases, but ultimately, you know, Deborah, he's from the demon realm. He's not even around. Cell and the androids, they don't even exist yet. Frieza's kind of like top dog. And I'm not talking about any of the gods. Obviously, they're like Supreme Kai, he's stronger. But in terms of mortal beings at this point in the story, Frieza's probably the strongest out there, aside from like King Cold. And yeah, Goku gets his ass handed to him quite a bit. He requires help, he requires the Spirit Bomb, and none of it seems to work. So ultimately, Goku is all of his efforts are in vain here. However, when Krillin gets killed and this guy goes Super Saiyan, he accomplishes the feat of becoming the first Super Saiyan in ages. It's amazing. And this guy proceeds to demolish Frieza. It's a total cakewalk for him. I know that in the anime it makes it seem a little more closer, but in the manga it was definitely a lot more one-sided on Goku's favor. And to embarrass and destroy Frieza in the way he did, not only that, for Frieza to beg and then him to give Frieza more energy just for Frieza to throw it back at him, and Goku still wins with the "you fool" yell. Yeah, this is Goku's greatest performance to this day. I think it is. I guess we'll find out when we cover Super, but I think in terms of Z, this is the most impressive showing for Goku. I'm going to give Goku like an A+ here. A-, maybe just because of the Ginyu one, but ultimately it's ridiculous how he performs in the Namek Saga. So far, Goku's really him. We're going to get to the Android Saga, and this is kind of where he starts to fall a little bit. The focus goes away from Goku, like just solely Goku, and starts to branch out to more characters a lot more. And, well, in the Android Saga, we could cover the Trunks fight. It's not really a fight. Trunks demolishes Macro Frieza and King Cold. Goku arrives on Earth, and Trunks decides to test Goku. He swings his sword at him, and he just blocks it with his fingers. Not really a performance, not really a fight, but already establishing, yeah, he's him. All right, he's completely way stronger than he was in Namek. He would have demolished Frieza even worse than he did before. He would have demolished King Cold. So yeah, Goku does establish himself. I'm not really going to count it towards like his whether he's a fraud or not, but you know, I'm gonna tell you right now, those blocks, those parries, those weren't fraud behavior. And so we get to the first major battle for Goku, and it is Android 19. Now, Android 19 is an android created by Dr. Gero. There's not really too much of an impressive background for him. He doesn't do anything. His first fight is Goku, and the show kind of hypes him up. They're hyping him up falsely, because they're actually hyping up other androids that we'll talk about in a bit. But 19 doesn't really have the clout like that. So this fight is not too good. Goku is winning the battle until he has his energy absorbed, and that causes his sickness to act up. So earlier in the arc, Trunks lets the audience know that Goku is going to come with the heart virus, and it's going to play in effect. It's going to be a factor in this fight. So although Goku does lose this fight, it's definitely not because he's a fraud. It's definitely not because he's not talented. It's not because he's weak or anything, or he's, you know, it's really not his fault. So I can't even count this one towards him. So far, Goku's doing great. It's a loss, but I'm not going to count it towards him. He's sick, dog. Now, it's kind of crazy to say this out loud when you really think about it, but he would not have another fight until the very end of the arc, the Cell games. So Goku has 2 fights in this arc. One of them in the very beginning, arguably the first fight of the entire arc, and then one towards the semi-last fight in the entire arc. So, yeah, not much to go through, but there's a lot to talk about here. So he fights Perfect Cell. This fight, first of all, performance-wise, is incredible. Cell is the ultimate life form. He has the DNA of all the previous fighters. So already establishing, Cell got a lot of big wins. You know, the androids were monsters, and they pale in comparison to even Cell's second form. So Cell definitely does have a lot of clout here. Definitely is a big deal. Vegeta's beaten by him. Trunks is beaten by him. Piccolo, everybody's been beaten by this guy. So Goku coming in and able to perform the way he did against Cell is really amazing. Cell even hypes him up. He's over here glazing him, saying that he's the funnest fight he's ever had and all that shit. So Goku does look good here. He does forfeit the fight, but you know, he still looks good even in defeat. You know, he doesn't get dropped on his ass or anything like that. He just admits that he cannot defeat him, and that's fine. Cell's literally a walking hack. The Warp Kamehameha completely vaporized Cell's top half. If Cell did not have regeneration, he would have been dead. I know that Cell was holding back. I know that Cell can beat Goku even without regeneration, but you know, the way Cell fights, he's probably a lot more careless considering he has regeneration. But had he not, hey, Goku would have got that win. So yeah, Goku's not stronger than Cell at this point. I want to make it clear though, Cell's 1,000% holding back. I feel like people think that Goku and Cell were around even. No, Cell was holding back the entire time. He could have really ripped Goku a new one if he wanted to, but Goku still performs better than all of his peers, and yeah, would have gotten the win with the Warp Kamehameha if Cell did not have regeneration. But it's not a win, obviously. He forfeits and he gives the reins over to his son. But honestly, I'm gonna say here he's solid. You know, it's like I almost want to give it like a B minus. I was gonna say a C, but because you know the 19 is a loss, but it's not really his fault. And then for Cell, he looks really good, but he doesn't get the win either. But I think because of how hyped up Cell was, I have to give Goku something here. So B minus. Now next up we got the Buu Saga. And in the Buu Saga, his first real opponent is Yakon. And this guy's kind of fodder, honestly. I mean, I know Supreme Kai hypes him up, but you know, the chances of Supreme Kai hyping someone up is the same chances as the sun rising in the morning. This guy pretty much glazes anything that moves, so it's not really saying much that Goku beat a guy that Supreme Kai thought was kind of all that. But he does beat him rather easily, for whatever that's worth. His next battle is with fucking Majin Vegeta, though. Vegeta, yet again. Obviously, the context here isn't the same as it was in the Saiyan Saga, since back then, Vegeta was certainly the favorite. Coming into this battle, it definitely feels like Goku is the favorite. You know, Vegeta is coming from a place of, I'm not stronger than him, so I'm going to give my body to Babidi, and basically in a hope and a prayer that it'll give me enough of an amp to actually defeat Goku. Could he do it? Arguable. I would say that when rewatching the fight between them, and I'm going the anime version here, Vegeta does seem to have a little bit more of the edge, but I question how much of it is because Goku's not trying to kill him. You know, I think it's safe to say that they're about even, so I'm going to call this a draw. I know Vegeta technically wins by hitting him with a sledgehammer Xenoverse 2 style in the back of the dome, but yeah, I mean, let's not act like that's because Vegeta was the better fighter that day. Yeah, we're going to call this a draw. We then move on to Goku versus Majin Buu. This fight is honestly, for me, a little iffy. This is another one where several factors are at play here. So Goku unlocks Super Saiyan 3, the magnum opus of the Saiyan transformations at this point, and he pretty much makes it clear that later on that he could have defeated Majin Buu. The thing is, I don't really buy it. Like, not even a little bit. So Goku says that he wanted his children and the other fighters to have an opportunity to save the Earth, but when we look at the performance with Majin Buu and Kid Buu at the end of the arc, and Kid Buu versus Goku, Kid Buu and Majin Buu are a lot closer than you'd think, and so is Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Kid Buu at the end of the arc. I don't really think Goku could beat Majin Buu, and I'm talking about the fat one here. I don't think he could have won, and if he could have won, maybe, that's the skin of his teeth. We need to remember, Majin Buu is a walking hack. This guy can do just about anything. And it's hard to, like, get on Goku's case here because Majin Buu is such an insane being. Like, he's so difficult to defeat because he can do anything. He can warp reality. He can regenerate from pretty much anything. Like, his regeneration is way worse than Cell's. It's ridiculous. He's got so many hacks. Like, he could do everything. Like, So if someone loses to Majin Buu, I'm like, I mean, yeah, it's Majin Buu. So I can't really hate on Goku too much here. I wish he would have won with Super Saiyan 3, but considering what Majin Buu is, I'm not really surprised that he didn't get the win here, so it's not that bad. His final battle is pretty much Kid Buu. I guess technically it's kind of Buuhan when he fuses with Vegeta, but I'm not going to give him credit for fusion W's, okay? So, we're going to move on to Kid Buu. The fight with Kid Buu, he gives it his all, but it's kind of the same case as this one here. Majin Buu is just ridiculous. Regardless of what form he's in, he's a walking hack. So yeah, Goku couldn't get the job done. He ends up winning with the Spirit Bomb, which is technically a win, because earlier when I was talking about Goku Piccolo versus Raditz, I said that tag team wins are wins. So, technically, Goku does get the win here. He does defeat Kid Buu. Is it an impressive win? Sure, he gets the help of the entire planet, though, so it's more like, everyone in unison defeat Kid Buu, but I guess Goku put the most elbow grease. I have a little more respect for Vegeta's performance, because obviously he was way weaker, and he sat there and got his ass beat, which is respectable. But solid. Overall, the Buu Saga performance of Goku, we have one win against Yakon, which doesn't mean much. A loss against Vegeta, which doesn't really mean much because he was caught off guard. A kind of weird draw situation with Majin Buu because Goku kind of froze the fight in a way. And then a win with Kid Buu, but he kind of needed everyone's help. So Majin Buu Saga is really weird to gauge, but ultimately, he's definitely not a fraud. I mean, again, the guys he's fighting, aka Majin Buu, is a walking hack. So, not a fraud. So, overall, solid performance here as well. I'm going to say a C+. So yeah, ultimately, maybe B- as well. Fuck it, B-. So overall, is Goku a fraud in Dragon Ball Z? Definitely not. Unequivocally not. I mean, from the performances against Scouter Vegeta and Frieza, and then the performance against Cell, and then, again, he's, at the end of the day, throwing hands very well against Majin Buu. So ultimately, definitely not a fraud. Goku, he's him. He's about it. So if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know down below, who do you guys want to see next? Share the video with other people. Like, comment, subscribe, the usual stuff. Ultimately, share it. I want as many people to see these videos as possible. And yeah, who do you guys want me to talk about next? I will be talking about Goku in Dragon Ball Super, and I will be talking about Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z and Vegeta in Dragon Ball Super. So aside from Vegeta, who else do you want me to look at? It doesn't only have to be Dragon Ball. It could be Naruto, it could be comics, it could be fighting games. I don't really care. Let's find out exactly who in fiction are frauds and who are not. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm out. Bye.